We'll get you live, maybe.
All right. Good morning, or actually it's afternoon. Noontime here on the East Coast. Welcome everyone to Liberty Aid Academy with your host, Jack McCaig.
Yeah.
How are we doing today, Jack?
Good. Thanks for being here, Tim.
I'm glad I could make it.
Me too. You're right on time.
Oh, yeah.
Here I am. I do that
coming in hot, sliding in sideways, all that kind of stuff. It was it's a good run. But actually, I opened up. I want to tell you that this little nugget. I just opened another trust this morning, and as I'm opening the trust, and this is the second one with this bank, new manager on duty, and she says, "Well, you don't have any beneficiaries named." And I said, I know, not at this time, but I'm sure we'll figure that out. And she's like, "Well, at Chase, we could never open a trust without the beneficiaries." And I had tried Chase a couple times, and they never gave a reason. They just said, doesn't work here, doesn't work here, doesn't work here. So I might go back to Chase and try to list the beneficiary and present because I know people have Chase trusts out there.
Yeah.
But this bank was not a problem. And I was like, well, I have another one here already opened with the same document, and so it was just funny that she was like, well, I came from Chase and we would never do that. And I'm like, okay, well, they do it here. And then she called her manager, and yes, the manager said, yeah, take it and set it up. And so we did. But I had that little bit of nugget of information that maybe Chase just kicked it back because there was no beneficiaries listed.
And then you got to look into my spiritual work and wonder, was that they did it on purpose, Yeah. So they're here to help us ultimately, get us over the roadblocks and stuff. I'm glad you're having that experience of maybe look it over. I didn't have to do that, but the point is too that their policies change and they're internal, and so you don't completely know on this end. And sometimes you hit a little wrinkle or a little hurdle. You're like, what was that? You don't always 100% know. That's why it's good to have so many banks that have trust, but they change a little policy and you wonder what it is, and then you can have success. And it can be a state policy too. It could be a regional policy. It doesn't mean it's a national policy. It could be, this branch. You never 100% know. That's why I say check the branches as well.
I had gone to several Chase branches and they never really gave me a reason. They were like, no, just didn't pass legal. And I'm like, for what? What can I do to? I don't know. That's the legal department. Blah 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 blah. And they never, in all, I probably went to 4 different branches. Never gave me a reason.
Okay, listen. Let me hold that thought there. I guess someone on Instagram who wants to go live, which I've never done. My technical prowess. For Tim being here. Now let's just see if it goes live. She says she has questions, so. Maybe we could get something going here. Let me see. Mama Knows Best. Go live with Mama Knows Best. Hopefully, she said the request a minute or two ago, so I don't know if it's going to work here. I'm getting to you. I finally said yes. Maybe you got to push a button on your end. There she goes. Okay. All right.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm at work, so I might get cut off.
All right. No, you're cool. So what's on your mind? What question do you have?
Okay, so I'm just learning about trust, period. And I don't have a whole lot, but what I do have, I don't want if something happens to me, my children or grandkids have to pay inheritance tax and all of that, blah, blah, blah.
No. No, this trust will get them out of all inheritance taxes and everything like that if you set it up properly. It could do that. So it's irrevocable. That's the only kind you want. You don't want a revocable one. That's seen as a tax scam by the IRS because, I'm moving my assets, but I'm revocable and irrevocable means, revocable is, hey, I could put those assets back where they came from. And that's not what you want to do anyway. Like, why would you want to do that? Right? The whole point is you're moving them. So never have a revocable one, because that's what it means. In other words, irrevocable. Hey, I'm moving the assets. They're never going back. So there's, the tax connection is cut, you see? So it's like now it's in there permanently. And so that's why this trust being irrevocable, and it's a Christian loophole. Like you side with the devil, you side with Jesus Christ. That's in the law, in the IRS tax code. It's a Christian loophole, and it's based on Acts 5 in the Bible, right? When Acts is when the apostles, after Jesus has done his thing, the apostles are left. Basically, that part of the Bible is like, what do you do now? God's not around to tell you what to do. What do you do? You see? And so this is an explanation of what you do. And in there in Acts 5, a husband and wife come, they sold all their property. And the apostles say, you have to give everything to us, or else, you lose eternal life. And they're in this part, the husband and wife come and they sold property, and they only give a portion to the apostles, and they instantly die. So they instantly die. And so they don't receive eternal life because they die. And so this is required as a Christian. You have to give everything to God. You see, I don't own it. It's not mine. I give everything back to God, and therefore it can't be taxed. You see, it's not yours. You got the debit card. You work for God. I need this stuff to work for God. And that's fine. You see, that's how the In God We Trust works for them. You see, and all the sub-trusts of that, like a person, right? It says to KV trust. It's a sub-trust of the person. They're In God We Trust. So you can't use the word trust at the end of the name of something unless it's a trust. So I called them. I'm an accountant. I'm an auditor. I see what you're doing. I'm going to copy it, right? Only I'm not going with we, because who is that? I'm going to go with Jesus Christ, okay? Because I knew who that is. And there's a loophole. This allows for us. So gets 501c3 status to trust, and it has 6033 reporting status in the IRS code, which means you don't fill out tax forms. Ever.
Now, doing this, can my children be? I know I can name them as the heirs.
For the situation that you asked about, this is how you want to handle it. Okay. First of all, education is the key to the next generation. So you want to operate a trust, right? All your assets go in it. It's not mine. You're the trustee. You control everything 100%. Nobody else is in it. So that's all set up. Now, the hack to get to the next generation with no taxes, no selling or anything, nothing like that. That's what you want to know. They would become trustees while they're alive. You see what I'm saying? If they're 18 or older. Okay. So that's what you want to do. And at the same time, here's the thing. First of all, before you do that, you want to have them operate their own trust, their first lasting trust themselves. So when you get the information from Liberty Gate Academy, you'll get the information. You can teach them, one student per family, one course, that's fine. But what you do is they learn, oh, hey, this trust is real. I have a debit card. Great. They don't pay taxes. They learn. And then once they learn, you can trust them because they know how to use trust. And then they have the information. It's not like there's no hurdle to overcome. They're like, oh, this is real. I get it. Simple. Then when they're educated by actually doing it themselves, and therefore they're trustworthy, and they show you and understand, then you could trust them. You see, they sign with God. They understand how to use a trust. They're not going to mess up your finances or nothing like that. And so what happens is, let's say maybe you die, right? That's what this is about. Nothing would happen to the ownership. There would simply be one less trustee.
One less trustee.
And then they're still trustees. They still, you see, so nothing happened. You follow? One trustee can operate on their own with a trust completely. You don't need everybody's signature to do something or something like that. And if you have a death certificate, then if you do need everybody's signature to do something in particular, you have that. And so, but it has no tax consequences of any kind. Because why? ownership remains the same. You see, the trust still owns it. Just trustees change. So it's a really clever little trick. The wealthy elite do this, right? Oh, everything's a trust for Donald Trump. We've been seeing them do it, you see, but I figured out how. And so, and it's like, well, how come we can't see their taxes? And see, there are no tax forms. You see, it's a very clever trick. You don't fill out tax forms. So that's why, well, my accountant says I can't show you my taxes. Why? Because I don't have any. You see, that's what happens with the wealthy elite. They're not working harder. They have a clever little trick they're using on us. And it's legal. And it's complete. And I, have had proof for many years, testimonials and all like that. So that's how it works. That's the mechanism to get over on the inheritance taxes and so on. But you don't want to create another financial problem by putting somebody on a trust. They don't understand what it is, and they haven't worked through their financial abilities to use a trust and to be with God. You want all those things. You're like, okay, I can trust God. Trusts you. I trust you. Here, come on over here, right? So then you're okay. That's my recommendation. All right.
Okay. So what's the process? How do you get started? Like
you become a student. You're like, oh, pay your student fee, and then you get an email, and you're like, oh, sign in as a new student. Great. And we have a where do I start video? You watch it, and we walk you through it. And then if you have any questions, right, you have an email, and Tammy's there. What comes with it, though, is my mentorship 7 days a week. Meaning we have an online private forum called the Classroom, and it's been around for a while. So every topic's been tossed about. We have index topics right there. And I'm the mentor in there. In other words, it's an online forum, private. It's not like Facebook or nothing. It's just students. And so you have a question, maybe you haven't seen it answered in there. You just type it out, and I'm in there. I'm like, here's the answer. You can put in links and videos of photos. It's a really good forum. It's a really good, it's like an online classroom. That's why I call it Classroom. So everybody's at a kind of different pace doing the work and so on. So I'm always there for you, to do it. But I love this work, like to get over all the bankers and really help people using their own rules. They've been doing this on us. Obviously, they're just messing around on their jet skis doing, nothing all day. How you doing that? Well, I caught them. So the trick is all your money's over here in a trust. Now your person qualifies for everything free. Give me the EBT, give me SSI, give me Section 8, give me every free thing you have, because your person has nothing now. Your person, right? It has nothing. So you can sue for free. I have so many free things you can do with that thing. So you receive all that all year long. It's not like you just don't pay taxes. They start paying you all the money because I don't have anything. You see?
What happens with the fact that you work?
What?
Work with the government.
Did you work with the government?
No, I don't work with the government.
Oh, sorry.
9 to 5. What does that income is taxed?
Well, that can be taxed if you're in a W-2 W-4 situation. But and a lot of people are in that, but they don't know this information. When they get it, they're like, oh my God. And you could move to a W-9 thing and still use all this tax because you could just write in the trust in a W-9. Okay. Or you could work like an entrepreneur or a business, like a real legitimate business. You could use a trust and not pay any business taxes or any taxes, anything like that. So the only place it doesn't work is W-2, W-4. But what? People come to this work and they don't know. But then they know, and they set up everything else, and they're like, okay, I was looking for something else. I could do this. And then like Tim, who's hosting the show with me, he's a realtor, he used to have to give a third of his, he gets paid, for all his very difficult realtor work, helping people get homes and rent and all that stuff. And they used to take a third. Now they take nothing. And that's like a W-9 thing. You follow? So it does work for that. It works for like if you're a business, hey, I'm a contractor, it works for you, So it works for many situations. It's just, but you didn't know there's this hack. And so then you start looking for something new as you set this up. Oh, the trust is open. It's real. Cool. Let me solve that thing with the home, and then move on from there. You know, you start looking for something else. Well, maybe, how can I do a W-9 thing based on my expertise? Maybe I work online doing this or that. You switch over. You know, once you have the knowledge, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, okay, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, that's common. I mean, I've been doing this for years. I've been helping people, so I understand the transition. You're like, man, if, and everyone goes, of course, you know, man, if I had known this, of course, you know, of course, of course. But that's what happens. You know it, you do it, and you start checking off the things off the list you can do, and then you start going, oh, how can I do this other thing, like save this vast amount of money on employment? So you find it, you know, once you realize, oh, it has to fit these parameters. So then you start looking for it and you're good to go. You see?
Yeah, I got recommended with you guys. You won't believe it. I drive Uber after work for extra money, and I picked someone up, and they recommended you in the Uber driving. I'm just random.
So wonderful.
I got your information.
No, I'm happy for you. I mean, this thing's spreading, you know. They really don't want this to get out because I'm not doing anything they're not doing. You see what I'm saying? But they don't want to get caught with their hand in a cookie jar. I'm like, what? If your hand is a cookie jar, make a little room, you know, hey, you know, it does work for Uber though. It does work for Uber. It does work for Uber. In fact, yeah, absolutely, 100%. It works for Uber. You don't pay no taxes no more. And I don't know how it is now, okay, because I haven't had an Uber driver I'm speaking to directly in maybe a year or something like that who's using this work. But there used to be on it, you know, where you set up, oh, this is my profile as an Uber driver, right? They're like, you know, what do you want to get paid to? Like you, an LLC. And one of the options was a trust. And you just click it. You see what I'm saying? And that's it. You completed the process with Uber. So is that I'm not in the app. I don't work for them. But I took the last individual I talked through had that experience.
Okay. So how do I get in touch with you guys? I know I follow you on Instagram. So
Great.
I could go there and get your information to contact you?
Yes. And we have a website in the school, you see, liberty8academy.org. You just go there. It's like, hey, become a student. Click. Great. Yeah, you help a student.
Okay.
We have an EBT discount. We have a veterans discount. You know, we also have where you check out, where you're fully in the checkout. You could do payments in there too. So we have different things. Any questions, contact at liberty8academy.org and we'll answer any questions you have. So. Yeah, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's like, you know, because you got to think about all the things that add up. My last show is on ROI, like, you know, all the free things you can get from the government you qualify for. Just the average, what I did was it works out to like 70 grand a year. What? That's crazy amount of money now. That's real money for anyone. You see, so it's really important. You kind of check them off the list. Oh, EBT is $281 a month. Oh, that adds up to da 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 da. Okay, and on you go through the list, which doesn't in any way, shape, or form stop you from doing Uber or nothing like that. No. You see, so and you just quit paying them taxes for Uber and all that. Quit filling out the forms. All that goes away. It's a change in life. It's a simplification. Makes your life easier in every way, not harder. The opposite. You see, because who's doing it? The wealthy elite. What can we say? There are two things, if nothing else, right? They're evil, okay. But the second thing is they're lazy, right? So this is the lazy method. You don't fill out paperwork. You don't pay taxes. It's wonderful, you know. And get back time and money, and it works out well. So, yeah, go to the website, do that, and if you have any further questions, I recommend emailing. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Mama Knows Best. I love it. I'm even on the Mama Knows Best show. Yes. Yeah. Oh.
I need to do her best too.
I made it. All right. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for being on. All right. I have no idea how to end this. Oh, she did. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, Tim, thanks for bearing with me on that. She had a lot of
good stuff. You were talking about all the free stuff, and I pulled up that banner from the ROI. So I have those all streaming across the bottom when you were talking about that, which is great.
there it is. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
that's
man,
good.
somebody is advertised on our show. It's like, oh wait, that's us. Oh.
We got a few people in the house. Alex saying 508, 508, 508. Hello, hello.
You know, you know.
That's right. And Leah's here. Good afternoon.
All right, Lee. Good to
And
have you.
haha, they are baking cookies. What flavor?
Oh, that's
Oh,
what the internet is not good for, right? We're like, put it through the kicky thing. And oh, yes, if only. Send the cookies through the cookie portal. Oh, we need a cookie portal on the internet.
I believe Lee liked that call in. So very good. Good stuff. Alex saying the same thing, giving a thumbs up.
Good to have you all here. Thanks for coming.
Yes, yes. So we jumped right into it. I jumped in first.
Yeah,
Are there
let's
any special announcements or
where we were with you. Sorry about that. I had to cut you off.
no?
I
I just want to mention it because it was fresh off my mind, and of course, the why I was a minute late jumping in here because I was coming back from the bank, getting that open. So my hiccup was that she didn't know she could open it without a beneficiary, but she did, and Chase doesn't. So 2 clues in 1 there. We got a new employee that helped me out, but
that's really a funny experience. I was doing a transaction early today as well, and it was very, very interesting transaction because I was at the DMV.
Oh.
And I was selling the van that a trust has, and it was somebody that come down and flew in to do it. A very nice guy, and we were sitting there a while because he was in another state, so he had to get all his state paperwork filled out because he's going to pay tax here, on and on and on. And they were doing that, and they were very patient and nice and very careful. 2 people, one manager, the manager of the place, and an employee was there, and they were both very carefully doing every single document. And they took just over an hour, I would say, hour and a half, maybe. It was amazing, maybe an hour flat. So we're sitting there talking back and forth, being the guy who's getting a van, a very nice guy, and it's a VW pop top, and so it's only a certain kind of individual that wants that anyway. So he's an interesting guy or whatever too. We're just sitting there and chat back and forth for this hour. And at the end of it, he says, so what do you think about this whole, because I'm like, he's like, what do you do? And I didn't go into it. I was just like, I help people. I had to, like not pay taxes and do illegal stuff. I'm an accountant. I just teach people that stuff. I work online. He works online. So, oh, okay. And so we're just sitting there. He has a pause, and we're almost near the end of this transaction, and like 1 minute, and he says, "So, what do you think about the crash coming up and stuff like that?" And I was like, dude, you probably don't want all the information. I'm just saying, professionally, I'm just saying, yeah, there's something is going to happen. Is figure it out what it is. And he's like, what are they? And he said, and then they just finished right there. Boom. Okay, you're done. And so it's like, stop talking. Like they shove the paperwork across, and I was like, and he takes his paperwork about to go, and I said, hey, on the last topic, before we walk out, I said, just to let you know that I know, I said, look at the guy's name tag, and that'll let you know that I'm not making up who I am and what happens. And he looks at it, and what does it say? Mason.
Mason?
Yes. I said, look, they watch over me and what I do. They never want to get anything wrong now, because if they get the least little thing wrong, I have a toehold, and they want me out of the building, never to return whatever building I'm in. You know what I'm saying? So it took an hour with the supervisor. No, on that line. Yes, that's correct. You'd never see anything like it in your life, which is fascinating, which is, kind of what you're getting into a little bit. When you do transactions, you have to know it on your end. Or what you need to do is sometimes you're missing a little component or something. But if you're not, I And I, like, at the end of every transaction I have with them or interaction, I say, may earn your wings and your feathers. Thank you. In a kidding kind of way. I always say it, but it's real. And
Yeah.
they look at me, like they look, really at me, really
Mhm.
for the first time. And they're like, thank you. I'm like, thank you. And this guy's like, we're walking out, he's next to me, and he's like, so what are you talking about? Secret societies or something? And I said, no, no, it's not about secret societies, it's about secret information. In other words, if you had information that somebody didn't have, you had an upper hand, you see? And he had said, what are you talking about? Like, end of the world? I was like, yeah. He said
Yeah.
those things specifically. So it was a very interesting interaction out there. I understand what you're saying. I had the same kind of a early start of the day myself,
Yeah.
Uh, and this is real. Like, people watching, like, your life shifts. It's all better. You're still, maybe there's a tiny little puzzle pieces left. Maybe, not many. Because I
Right.
really show the whole puzzle. This is it. And you're like, what? And then you're like, let me go get some of that. You start running at the next best thing, And sometimes there's a little glitch. This is why I'm here. If there ever is, we work through it like I was saying on Instagram, in the in the classroom, I'm your mentor. And so we go through it. So,
Excellent. Very good.
yeah,
Some more comments coming in. Lee's asking, "What's my sitch?" I think I'm a realtor and video marketer, so I get paid by my broker and it goes straight into my trust account. So that's the situation. That's the most fun checks I get. Otherwise, I get paid to do my video marketing through my trust as well. So no complaints there. But it's been, I think it's almost 2 years now, Jack. Coming up on 2 years.
amazing.
So nobody's knocked on my door. I'm still living comfortably.
Nor
Not
mine.
not hiding, but not I didn't raise any crazy flags or anything. But it's working. It's working. Erica B.
Wait,
Hello.
wait, wait, wait.
Yeah.
Tim's also a great family man too. Like, he's got a lot of dimensions to him. He's just given a short answer, but he's a great guy. That's why he's here. With great family man, and he carried individual, still a realtor in difficult times. You're a great realtor.
Thank you. Thank you. I will add that our friend Scott has not mentioned Hi Jack and Tim today because he's on a flight coming to me, and we've never met in person. We've been online friends for a long time, and I introduced him to your program. But he's on his way. We're going to meet for the first time today, so his plane lands at 2 o'clock.
Fantastic.
Fun stuff. Fun stuff. So yeah,
It's really hard to find like-minded people right around you. So it's really great when you get like a real like-minded individual to show up as their homie. I'm happy for you. That's great. So
very
my
true.
uncle Scott too.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So Erica B in the house, my foster mom will be selling her house. I may be able to pay her cash. What's the best way for me to conduct this transaction, and how would you accomplish this?
That's a really good question. This is what you want to do, okay? At the end of the transaction, so we're going to start at the end because this is the result you want to have happen, okay? I teach this in our program, so the information's in there, but I'm going to talk you through it, okay? You want to end up with the home in a trust, and it's going to have the name of like a church, okay, like a Christian church name, trust, and it's going to have Christ or Christian in it. I would say, 2 words at the most, and then trust. And then why do that? Because then it would qualify to get a tax exemption, real estate tax exemption at the county level if you do that. And I teach how to do that. Okay. So that's what the end result you want to end up with after it's in a trust with that type of a name. Okay. So you could actually I'm guessing that you're going to handle it in sort of a traditional way. Get a lawyer involved, which is fine. That's fine. In other words, meaning now currently she probably has a deed that's called a warranty deed or something like that. Whatever your state calls something like that, and generally, basically, what it means is you're going to get title insurance. When the real estate changes ownership into the trust, you're going to get title insurance, pay a fee, at the closing. So you probably use a lawyer, right? And so you get another warranty deed, pay a fee to the title insurance company, which will make the real estate more valuable when you go to sell it. You see, if it has the same level of deed that it has now currently. Okay, so that's what you're going to want to do is probably unless the last lawyer was horrible, use the same one if they're still around, or just any very trusted, however they do it at your state, title of the company, closing attorney. Each state is different, okay? But you would say, I wanted to go into this trust. You would get one of my trusts open, follow the instructions. I'll help you if you have any questions, but it would go into that trust, okay? And then the money would change hands then, because you could do a traditional type of a transaction like that. It would make sense to your foster mom. It makes sense to you. You would pay cash. It's a very simple, easy event in the world of real estate to do what I just described. Okay. It's the simplest type of transaction that there is. So you would want to, get a lawyer involved who just does real estate transactions, does a lot of your area, super great reviews. If you don't know what, because usually what would happen is Tim, a very trusted realtor would have somebody he already knows who never messes up, and they would recommend him. So you're going to have to do that yourself, or ask a realtor who they recommend. If you have a friend or whatever, who do you recommend? Anyway, so that, basically, and that's the process that your foster mom probably went through. So you're just repeating the process. Go to a lawyer, get a warranty deed, goes in this trust, right? Have the trust open ahead of time. There it is. We work through it. And that's how. So, but if you're going to give her money, right, wouldn't it be great if you could get her wise to the situation too and put it into a trust for her? You follow me? And then she would have that money in a place where it wouldn't get taxed or nothing like that from a transaction or anything, because it would be that trust doing the transaction. Her person might owe something because it was in there. I don't know, I don't know the rules of your area, but if a person doesn't have anything and they go to collect some tax, it doesn't have anything, what are you going to get? You see? So, but real estate transactions for taxes usually happen at the moment. And so if you have a qualifying entity that maybe, you don't have to pay tax, okay, extra wrinkle. But I mean, if she could have a trust, even her first last name trust, open at a bank account, then, you drop it into that trust account. That's it. The cash goes right in there. Nobody's going to touch it. Not the IRS. No one gets a penny of it, you see? So there it would go into a trust. Now, is it because your foster mom is ill or old or something like that, and we're doing, tax mitigation stuff? I don't know. And I'm not answering it like you're in that situation, Erica, but as I'm answering questions, I'll follow it up in case somebody else has a similar situation. But let's say, foster mom, she wants to leave the cash anyway. What are you doing? Let's say that wrinkle shows up. Oh, hey, I have other assets I'm trying to give you eventually, mother, father, whatever. If they have a trust, so you become trustee on it, then if they were to pass away, this is already handled this in today's show on Instagram. But if there's just one less trustee, if someone's not there, you see, and so nothing changes. The trust still has cash, assets, home, real estate, stuff like that. So that's a way too. But you want to do a separate transaction. You want to end up, that was the way I heard your question. End up in a separate trust. It's got a Christian name to it. That's the way it qualifies for no property taxes, and to get a warranty deed with a lawyer, whoever closes in your area that's very trustworthy, as a synopsis. Okay. Good question, Erica. Thank you. Did I miss anything, Tim? He's an expert over here. He's got a, hey, you missed what I missed.
wanted to hear your explanation. I wasn't going to tell you what I would do before I heard what you would do. But basically, you got around to the same thing I was thinking. I would get mom wise to the situation first, have mom put that in the trust, basically put, without doing the transaction, put that in the trust and make you a successor trustee, and basically taking her out as trustee then makes you owner of the property, doesn't it?
No, that's what you don't want to do. Not successor, because that gets a state or someone else involved to put you into the successor position. Okay. So they want to come on as successor currently. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That was the answer to the earlier question and this thought. You're currently trustees, not successor, nothing like that. So that's why I say you really got to educate the next, party. Can they do this? And if they can't, and there's no time for that, and that's not involved, fine. We're just explaining that's most beneficial, but it doesn't have to be there. It doesn't have to. No, they can just take their person name, whatever. That's what they want to do. Great. But on your end, handle it properly. You understand. We just are always trying to help out everyone in the transaction. You see?
That's I misspoke by saying successor trustee. I meant that you can move the home into the Christian name trust with mom together as co-trustees, and then drop mom off as trustee as you send money to a mom's name trust.
True. And basically Tim was just describing what exactly will happen during the closing or the sale at the table with the lawyer. He's going to fill out the paperwork that matches exactly what he just said. But if you're just doing a single transaction, you don't need to have her on that trust. But if you're just setting it up for the future, see, Tim's kind of thinking like, oh, if you didn't give cash, if you just want to be, on the home, and that's the way generations sometimes pass out. Well, you would become a trustee. If she's a trustee, oh, you get it. Hey, we get trust and so on. That's the simplification. But this is about a transaction. Hey, I want to give her cash. I want to do this. So, we don't want to include her on a trust, because you wouldn't put somebody on a trust until they understand trust, because then they can become a problem. They don't understand. They just don't understand. That's all. So I would make a clean break with it. But if it were two generations that are already operating trust, and hey, then Tim's actually right. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about that expertise, which is why he said in the beginning, first I would teach her about trust. Yeah, but if that's not the situation, that's okay. That happens. Right. So those are the kind of, we're trying to give it to you, but we can't have, you're just typing, So we don't have the full info.
Ollie here. Good to see you both. Continued truth.
So Tim is right, and I'm right both. Depending on
there's a couple different ways to do it, but yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. Have a great time. Oh, Lee, when Scott comes to see me, yes.
Yeah.
What do you think of mortgage modifications?
What a great question. But generally they're idiotic because what happened? I mean, they're great for the bank. They are the banks. Everything that the bank does is good for the bank. Period. Right? Because what happens if they modify a mortgage, restart the amortization table? No. You restart the amortization table. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. In the beginning of an amortization table, it's all interest. You don't pay no principal. You see, so they restart that. So you back to, you were paying some interest, now you're paying nothing. It's like, well, it's a way to stop that claim. It's a terrible idea. Unless, it's a substantial drop in, the how much
payment.
But let's be honest, Have you ever, I mean, come on, let's think about this. Like, this is sort of a setup from DD has to be. Has anyone you've ever met gone, hey, the loan modification process went perfectly fine? And no one, no one, like, you're on a hook. Like, oh, well, just obey this and just screw yourself over. And then we're going to swoop in and save you. It's like, no, that's Jesus. That's not the banksters, so they're not trustworthy in the whole process. So doesn't the principal go on the paper? Yes, the principal goes on the paperwork. So if you could substantially reduce the principal and they just write it off, and let's say it was a 30-year or something, like if you could switch it to like a 15-year and get the principal way down, maybe your payment's better and you're still paying some principal every month, but you don't want to restart a 30-year clock. There's no principal getting paid for so many years. Basically, they just screwed you again.
Yeah, all that changes. Jack, if you'll allow me again, I'll tell the story about my loan.
I mean,
which put
me
me
your head because it's a horror show. I mean, here for him.
In 2008, when the banks went belly up and the government said, you need to fix this and we'll give you, how much did they give them? $8 billion to help people with loan modifications and all this kind of stuff. So as a realtor at that time, my income was made off of buying and selling real estate, or helping people buy and sell real estate, which didn't happen in 2008, 9, 10, because everybody got screwed. The market collapsed. No one was doing deals. My income went from hundreds of thousands of dollars to basically nothing. And so then I filled out the mortgage modification application, and I got approved. Right? Wonderful. My payment was going to go from $4,000 a month to $1,500 a month. I couldn't sign it fast enough, but the truth is that I didn't sign it. I'm sorry. My notary messed the date up. Right. So I signed it, took it to a notary. We signed it. I put down the 20th. She put down the 21st. I submitted it to the bank. The bank kicked it back to me and said, nope, you got the date wrong. You're out of the program. I had a lawyer, and we went to the court and we said, look, we want into this program, whatever, and the judge said, give him his loan modification back. But it started the game for the bank because they had gotten the money from the government, $8 billion to make these things. So, and they said, oh yeah, we approved, Mr. Judge. And we sent him a new modification, and then he didn't do it right. And so I got screwed then. And so I fought and fought and fought. And, I fought for 14 years before they got me. And I'm still fighting. Jack, my house is still empty. There is no one living in my house right now.
Over at Jesus Christ Trust. I mean, eventually everybody gets there, and they.
And so I've got my claws still in that house, and I won't let go. And no one's moved in, no one's improved it, no one's done anything to that house since then.
Yeah,
and it's ridiculous. And I sit there and I look, because my family is like, what is the matter with you? I'm like, if it got sold by foreclosure, which was illegal because we know that, all mortgages are fake and all this kind of stuff. And I'm trying to prove all this stuff. And my family's looking at me like, why would you? I'm like, look, in 2022, this house was sold to foreclosure. It's sitting there empty in one of the craziest real estate markets in Greenwich, Connecticut, where, they're selling hand over fist for tons of money. Nobody's done a thing. And I'm like, because I'm right. Because they screwed me over, and I'm not going to let them get away with it. So my fight is not over, and I'm using every tool that you're teaching me, and I will not let up on that.
Every tool? Every tool, not yet. Go look at the foreclosure success thing. You're not using every tool yet. And in fact, maybe you could sign every race to somebody else in case they want to get in there. Maybe, who knows?
I did that. I signed the house before they closed on it. I signed it over to a company, and I rented it back through my trust. So I was renting my own house through a New York company to this Connecticut house, and I was really screwing them up, and then I had the trust sign the rental agreement. So I'm like, why are you kicking my person out? I'm not the person that lives here. It's the trust that controls the property. And yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess, and that's why it's still vacant.
So yeah, but so go look into if you want to use it, go look into that information. I just say you could. That information has been 100% successful at never losing a home to foreclosure seizure. In other words, they may do the paperwork, but they never take the place. Go look into that information if you want to make use of that place.
Yeah,
I'm serious. So just you could. You don't have to, but you could.
well, I will.
So thank
right.
you for sharing that. And Dee Dee had a good question, and you went through your experience, and that's why at some point in the
Like you
process,
said, modifications are good for the bank.
they are, and at some points you can look for them to rug pull. You know what I'm saying? So if you know all that going into it, and if you watch when they pull the rug and say, "No, I'm not going to do that," and keep yourself in a position to have leverage to say that to them, then things could go okay for you. You see, but the whole situation is why you get this mortgage modification is you're not in a leveraged position usually. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
at least you're leveraged with knowledge in this case. If you were to go through it, do you follow? And why we both take a very dim view of the characters in that process and their trustworthiness. So if you're aware of that, maybe it can happen. Just maybe. Neither one of us in any way advocating for it, but with open eyes, maybe you can make it happen. I mean, miracles happen for Dee Dee, so that's the leverage that could make it work for you.
All right. Jay in the house says, Jack, on credit cards, is there a certain percentage to keep on a card to look the best, or is zero balance better? I've heard 2, maybe 6%. Not sure.
This is a good question, Jay. Thank you. And this is the way I handle it. It's actually both are correct. Okay, so you don't want to have a credit card that's 100% dormant all year long and never reports. You see what I'm saying? That would kind of put it into a classification of eventually in every credit card place, if it's not used for some amount of time, they might at some date of this many months or during a bad time of the economy or whatever, make a rule that if no one's used their card and this say close them. That happens. So you don't want that to happen is why. It doesn't make a super big difference in your person's credit score. It does a little bit of this in a narrow range. But I see putting a small percentage, 2 to 6% on a card, something like that, once a year anyway, to like the cars you just have, or twice a year, will kind of make it so, yes, they'll keep it open, but also, each issuer of credit cards, like each bank or whatever, right? Each entity, they have different rules for when they're going to raise a credit limit, So if you keep it in the game and you're using it, some percent, say twice a year, and it reports, it's on their books, it's on the credit report and stuff like that. It's not going to go against any of the criteria for not getting the credit limit raised, which, if you have the credit limits high, that's our goal. Yes. Why have them low? So then it would be qualifying for, and you can look this up on the forum that I suggested, sort when, after 3 months, 6 months, depending on the, card issuer, when they'll approve a credit limit increase. So you always want to keep a calendar of when that is and sort of, I reported, twice a year, something like that. It's easy to get, not easy, but it's generally easiest to get credit card limits increase up to 25 grand without providing paperwork and stuff if you just follow the rules like I'm talking about. of each creditor and have a report some once in a while, you'll easily, I mean, not easy, but over time you could, just follow their 391 days or, 6 months or whatever and ask for a credit increase. A lot of them, not a lot, some of them, some portion of them have soft pulls to do credit limit increases, some don't. So you want to make sure you check the rules, for a car. You don't want to ask, oh, they do it past 90 days. You don't want to ask in 30 days. They're not going to do it because it doesn't fit the rules. So you have to look them up. But, on a forum and so on. If you have questions, go in to, the classroom and ask me specifically, Jay, but you can look that up. My FICO forums is really good. It's free, and it's a good service to look that stuff up on. But so it's both, basically, is the answer to that question. Report a very small percentage once in a while, and most of the rest of the time, keep it at 0%. As that's the optimal way to handle it. Okay, good question.
Lee saying that's awful. I think that was about my story. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Cars are cool. Hey, Tim, move back in. I would love to. But then my family wouldn't move with me.
Rent. You see to say there's some things you could do. Or not. You could leave it behind and Tim's moved on with his life. That's a possibility too. This is his life and he gets to do what he wants. That's he has sons to raise and everything like that. So but we're talking about the options. Remember, my goal, I teach these are the methods. I don't tell people do this, do that. That's not my thing, you see. But they're getting over on us. This is what they're doing, so we can do these things. So what do you want to do is the way I present it to people. Right. So because there are many options. What fits your life.
Dee Dee asking, is it possible to get a second mortgage on a trust property to pay for an investment property with the trust?
Yeah, that's just who will lend the money and
credit work.
Yeah, and so let's just take a general hypothetical, okay, where this would fall for most people in answer to this question. What would you do? Oh, well, who has an investment property? Someone like Tim, right? I found this online. It is with this realtor, Tim. Okay, you don't have a realtor. You contact them. Hey, I'm interested in this property. Great. Okay. Do you have a realtor? No. Okay. So I'll be both sides of the transaction. Yeah. You need help? Yeah. You tell them I'm looking for a lender that will do this, and they recommend a lender in the area. You see what I'm saying? And if you don't have a realtor involved in a transaction, you're going to have to look up a lender on your own. Like a mortgage broker. Not like a bank per se, but like someone that handles a lot of different companies' products for mortgages and that understands them all, listens to your criteria, goes, oh, we have a product for you over here, and I wanted to go into trust. But a realtor works with people they trust, who comes into their office, every week. Hey, they want business, and so they're very quick to tell you, oh, we have a loan for this and this way we do it. So realtor can be helpful, but they're going to point you in that direction. So if you don't have one involved, go find one on your own or ask a realtor. You see,
ask me.
Yeah, but
find me in the classroom and I can hook you up with a mortgage person. I do a show every Wednesday at 11 with a mortgage guy who runs mortgages nationwide. So,
wow.
Yeah, he's
well connected. Like this is a guy right here. So there you go.
Oh yeah.
It would be great if you could find a lender who could recommend it to people here who want to, a national one who, people want to buy things under trust. They can get business right away from here in here.
Sure.
So that's ask a realtor. What?
I'm happy to help. Reach out inside the classroom. I'm there posting, as much as I can. Definitely about these shows twice a week. We're here. So we'll do it. So if they said Tim's trust home is foreclosure, but it's in the trust, can you do a buy on land contract? Well, we're not going to get into more specifics of what that situation was, but
if Tim chooses to move forward and examine the possibilities, I'm happy to do that. And sometimes this is about focus, GD, and It's good I'm talking to you both about this here.
Yeah.
Because you both have some property out there hanging like this, and if you watch, I love this show. What's the name of that? Westworld, right? The new one.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're fighting for the land. And in the end, it's the children that keep you here, back in the reincarnating. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's your deeds. It says in the Bible. It's like, well, if I don't have a deed, I guess I'm good. I read. So, this stuff becomes really, we have to really individually weigh these things and what we want to spend our time on, and what creates stress and anxiety, what would make a happy life for us, and stuff like that. So, uh, don't worry, be happy with, do your best and God does the rest. Well, what does that mean? Different for each individual. You see, different circumstances. We have individual choice. So there's not, hey, go get the house, Tim, and stuff like that. He has his life, and so do you, Dee Dee. So these are the things to weigh, on that cross, that scale. What do I do? Not easy questions. I have the information, though, to make those possibilities happen. I'm here for that. What you choose, I'm here to help you with.
Dee Dee says, I get it. Thank you. Yeah. Lee, can you share your show name and info, please? I will. You know what? I'm going to put it in the classroom, and then Jack can check it out if he wants to talk more about it.
Not a student. Lee's not a student, so if you can also put the link to your show in like the YouTube, or email it to me, or text it to me, or message to me in the classroom. I'll tag it on this show itself if you remind me in a message. Sure. If you can't do it on your end, because I know Lee's asking if she's not in the classroom. She wants to be, but she's not a student yet.
Sure. I'll find one real quick. Rosa, I don't get it. I don't know what that means. Okay, whatever. Alex is happy. I don't hold back.
No, you don't hold back. So don't hold back. He said post in the classroom, and we will make sure you 100% get the information you need, Dee Dee. Put up this post, and Tim and I will go in there and make sure you get it. Okay?
Yep. It is. It's in StreamYard, so I can take 1 second here and I'll find it.
That's cool.
Here we go.
Posted it to the chat, maybe, or something. But we're about to end.
Yeah,
that'd be great if you could do that for Lee. That she have it,
There it is. That's one of the. It's one of them there. So there it is. That's the YouTube show. You can watch that, and that's on my Greenwich Real Estate page. But that mortgage guy is the main guy in there, and that's. I'd be happy to have you guys show up and say hi, ask questions.
What a great question. Somebody had to bring this up, and now we really get to know my Tim is so good. Realtor, it is so helpful in every way of real estate, the financial transaction, all of it, especially as someone who's been around as long as Tim has seen the ups and downs. Such a valuable asset of the information they have in their experience. So, thank you for that question. I didn't know all this, so we're like, yes, maybe we'll get a lender for trust. Yay.
Yeah, I'll work on them for that for sure. I'll tell them that I've got loads and loads of people coming, all about the trusts. So yes, we'll do that. But yeah, so that brings us to the end of this one.
Yep.
It's Monday, and we'll be back on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. That's the 18th. Is that the 18th? Sounds good. For the 18th. Is that good for you, Jack?
It's great for me. I'm looking forward to it, Tim. Great show tonight. Man, it's just good question after good question. Great show. Thanks to everyone for showing up and participating on Instagram too. Everyone, great show today. And we'll see you Thursday at 7 p.m. Have a great week.
Very good. Bye, everybody.